European LCK semi-finals that begin this weekend. First up, we will have H2k taking on Origen, followed by the Unicorns of Love who will take on Fnatic. A repeat of our spring split finals, 3-2 to Fnatic in case you don't remember.
Yeah, I definitely do, and those best of fives will take place this weekend with Origen versus H2k on Saturday and Fnatic versus the Unicorns of Love on Sunday. Both series will start at 8 a.m. Pacific, that is 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Now, last week on PTL, Freak and Kobe had to preview the North American quarterfinals while dealing with death timers, and we're going to be doing the same thing, only better and for the semis.
Yeah, and of course, to prove that EU is in fact greater than NA, that you should have your smite on D, your flash on F, we're just going to do it in 45 seconds per team instead of the 1 minute the other guys had. So I'm going to start with H2k, because they will obviously be taking on Origen here, and let's just get the clock rolling, and I'll start going. So 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to go. H2k will beat Origen in the early game. They have to be able to lane swap and get an advantage. Origen so far, if they've been behind at 20 minutes, they've lost every single game. It happened 5 times. H2k need to beat them there. So you lane swap, you open up the map. That allows now Kasing to start roaming around from the bottom lane, create picks, set up tower dives together with Lulex or Sjokz, depending on who he's playing. And then of course in the mid lane we have Rio, the veteran. He's been really strong on these assassins where he can also start joining Kasing and Sjokz or Lulex in the roams. And Origen, they struggle if they don't set up map vision. They tend to get caught out. Niels has honestly been performing a little bit poorly, especially in team fights. So there are room for these pick comms here H2k can run to catch out Origen and beat them.
You actually stopped before the timer. It seemed like you didn't have enough to convince me that H2k might make it versus Origen. Now I'm going to talk about OG. Start the timer. You've been talking a lot about the early game and how Origen, if they get behind, can win it. I don't think they will fall behind in the early game versus H2k, lane swap or not, simply because I think that Amazing can put more pressure on the map than either Sjokz or Lulex. He will be able to facilitate his lanes to keep on rolling. You mentioned that you don't think that Niels has been doing so well. This split in general, I feel like he's a big contender for Rookie of the Split.
Lately.
He has fantastic. You're not allowed to cut in. Mr. has been doing really, really well. On top of that, the experience on the lineup of OG. 86 playoff games between those players, of course excluding Niels, who is the rookie but has been doing very well. They have a ton of experience, especially in a best of 5 like this where it matters. H2k has been known to sometimes falter after some losses, especially in a series like this, if they fall behind.
All right, let's move on to the next semi-final. We have Fnatic taking on the Unicorns of Love, of course. You have 45 seconds to explain why or what Fnatic should do to remain, of course, undefeated in this season here.
All right, we can roll the clock. Fnatic, what do they have to do? They have to keep doing what they've been doing. They are 18-0 on the split. They are on the way to a perfect split. You mentioned the spring finals, 3-2 in favor of Fnatic versus Unicorns of Love. But this iteration of Fnatic is just a lot stronger in every single position. Dare I even say the coach position and the way they can move in picks and bans, because Unicorns of Love have been known to throw out cheese here and there, but I think the depth of the champion pools and the knowledge in the pick and ban phase will be good for Fnatic in this one. On top of that, Huni and Reignover, that synergy is through the roof. And okay, Horo and Vizicachi had a good showing in their quarterfinals, but I don't think it beats Huni and Reignover. On top of that, shot calling Fnatic led by Yellowstar against Unicorns of Love, who, given, had better shot calling in their semi-final game 5 versus Roccat at least.
Okay, yeah, game 5, I'll give you that. In the last game, they made some good calls. Now, what Unicorns have to do, let's just start the clock already. Unicorns right here, it's going to be about what Horo can do in the jungle versus Reignover, because Reignover has been a target of bans. You know, teams have tried to shut him down. If you make sure he falls behind, Horo can then start going top lane, camp Huni up there, of course, and try and shut him down. He's going to make sure the Holo dies out, and it becomes Horo instead. That's very tough to say, by the way, for the Unicorns of Love, because let's be real here. You don't beat Fnatic in a beauty contest. You know, they're 10 out of 10 in the looks. They're beautiful. So instead, if you want to be the Miss European or Miss EU here for Unicorns of Love, you need to bring some personality, some charm. Again, we're going to need this farmer girl who's been working at a dairy farm all her life, who's been making a lot of cheese. That's the Unicorns of Love. They got to bring it on stage. They got to show it to the judges. They got to make sure they can impress with all the skills, because the looks, they belong to Fnatic.
Oh, that was perfect delivery. I have to commend you on that. Well, our dead timers are going to go on cooldown, but we're going to send it over to Riv to present.